may be the biggest thing that's ever happened.
Wherever there is injustice, you will find us. Wherever there is suffering, we'll be there. Wherever liberty is threatened, you will find
the three AmiVO's: Dave McRae, Garnet Williams, Mike Pongracz. Separately, they are humble Canadian voiceover superstars. Together, they are the three AmiVO's.
Ladies and gentlemen,
here we go.
And now, the AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour VOdcast.
everyone ready?
Yeah.
And with that, we are off and running. It is the third AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour VOdcast. I got the name right, third time. It's a charm. Welcome, AmiVO Mike Pongracz. To my left, AmiVO Dave McRae.
Hello, everybody.
In front of me, it is AmiVO Garnet Williams.
Welcome.
We are broadcasting from our new venue, I guess. I guess you'd call it new venue.
From AmiVO World Headquarters.
AmiVO
Perhaps,
World
yeah.
Headquarters.
Deep inside AmiVO Mountain.
Yes, because before you would say it's AmiVO Dave in Georgetown, AmiVO Garnet in Hamilton, AmiVO Mike in Brantford, but now it's we're all in the same location here.
We're on our private AmiVO Island.
Yes.
Underground.
Near Baffin Island, apparently.
6 stories underground AmiVO Mountain.
Yes, that's right.
Broadcasting live from AmiVO Studio 1A.
Yes. The AmiVO Funhouse of VO.
If anybody has ever seen
nickname.
the 60s Batman series out there, that's exactly what it's like.
Yeah, it's like a cave.
That's right. But the Batcave from the 60s TV show.
We took us a while to get the microphones going because atomic batteries were not yet at power.
That's right.
But we
Turbines to speed.
We need to find the ghost of Ted Knight to do all our segues. Meanwhile, back at the AmiVO Funhouse of VO, AmiVO Dave was angry.
Yes. Yeah, actually, Dave's angry.
I didn't want to bring it up. But you're right.
But Dave is angry.
Dave is angry. Now,
am
before we find out why AmiVO Dave is angry, first of all, thank you to AmiVO Garnet for allowing us to work in this deep lair which he has constructed himself.
Yes.
Using brawn.
All by
Like
himself.
men. Like men. I built it with brawn.
I invented the wheel.
Like men that invented the wheel.
All by himself.
By Odin's raven.
So that's where you've been the last couple of weeks.
That's why it takes so long for these podcasts, is because we had to construct this underground lair.
right.
But thank you for that. Also, on the program today, it's very exciting because we are going to have our very first guest on the VOdcast. I know we talked about it. We teased about having a guest on because we got tired of talking to ourselves.
And it is the AmiVO's and Friends.
That's right.
That was
That's
the one
right.
thing that wasn't right. Yes,
That's right.
Although we did have Sam Cook, who does all the imaging voice for the program, so she's kind of an AmiVO.
Yeah.
Well, she is an AmiVO friend, but
she is.
Yeah, she is,
during
but she
each
hasn't
show.
been on the show yet. But she is part of the family here.
exactly.
Yes.
But we are actually going to get a guest today, and we figured we'd start in waving the flag because we are celebrating the
Yes.
Canadian esque-ness of our VO,
Yes.
and we wanted to bring on a guest who I think not only exemplifies what Canadian voice talent are, but he's such a nice guy, and he does a lot for especially the local voiceover community based out of Toronto.
Yeah.
He runs, or he'll say he co-runs, which I believe he does, along with another great talent, Jody Krangle.
Yes.
But Pat Sweeney,
ladies and gentlemen.
ThatMedicalVoice.com
Yes.
will be on the show today.
Is it That Medical Voice? Or is it The Medical Voice?
I thought it's That Medical Voice.
I think it's themedicalvoice.com.
Garnet is going to look. See, it's really cool to actually have everybody in the same room and
That's right.
looking, and we can point and
And I can feel the brawn. I can feel the brawn energy.
I like lamp.
Crackling.
So,
There's energy in here right
so
now.
Patrick will be our inaugural guest.
TheMedicalVoice.com.
The
so I
Medical
was right,
Voice.
yeah.
Okay. Sorry, not That Medical Voice. That Medical Voice is
That Medical Voice.
Bob Sweeney.
Yes, yeah.
He's out of Poughkeepsie, apparently. So Patrick will be coming on today's show, and we're going to talk a little bit about not only voiceover VO and TO. We'll talk about his experiences going to FAFCon. He's been to Voice. He does a lot of workshopping, a lot of coaching.
Networking.
Yeah, a ton of networking, and have a great perspective on all those topics.
Yeah.
Plus, he's probably one of the few talents that I think we know who's really discovered having a niche voice, or finding, to take Dave, to take your thing, finding his voice.
Absolutely.
And parlaying that into a brand new website, The Medical Voice, and his specialty being medical narration. So we'll talk about that. But yeah, getting back to the AmiVO Funhouse of VO, Dave is angry. I didn't want to say anything, but...
Meanwhile, Dave's angry.
Dave, why...
Meanwhile, back at the land of Brun.
But this is something that a lot of voice talent, especially ones similar to us who run this full-time as a business, you'll come across clients that perhaps take advantage.
Yes.
Screw ya!
We're Canadian. We're trying to be polite. No,
Yeah, no,
basically,
no.
Pooch, tell us, Dave, why you're angry.
Okay, well, I got screwed. And
Did you get the complimentary reach around at least?
Didn't even kiss you first.
he didn't even kiss me first. It was really disappointing. No, so long story short, I'll try to keep this as compact as possible. So I had an email come through on my voiceman.com site, probably about a month or so ago. It was before the voiceover conference in Toronto on May the 4th. I know that. So it was just over a month ago. And this was a guy from Scotland who was inquiring about having a voiceover for a trailer. And he had told me that he was doing it for some sort of thesis or a project in university. So... I had never heard of him. I'd never dealt with him. I figured, well, here's the potential for a new client. And normally what I do with new clients is I will give a discount.
That's fair,
because
yeah.
I think that's fair. You're new, and a lot of the times people don't realize how much it really does cost, and they're a little shocked by that. So, I gave him the discount rate and price, and he fired back. And this is all happening at about 1:30 in the morning because I'm
The
here,
time
he's there.
difference. Yeah.
Right. And I'm in bed on my phone. And he comes back to me and he says, I didn't realize it was going to be so much, which,
Which is not uncommon for people that don't know what we do.
Right, exactly. But he led me to believe that he was somebody who was in university, 19, 20, maybe something like that. But his responses were very childlike, very, very one-dimensional, very one-sentence-like. There was no engagement of a conversation, flow, professional, really
So you're starting to gather that he's a young guy.
Yeah, I'm thinking, is he like 12, trying to get something out of me, So,
well, 12-year-old.
Those 12s and their voiceover pranks, I tell you.
The reason why I say that, I'll shut you up here in a minute, Garnet. The reason why I say that is because I've had somebody who appears to me to be no older than 12 or 13 email me through YouTube. Or not email me through YouTube, but send me a
message.
Message on my page, and
the
computer,
the talking box.
Yes, and he wanted me to do a voiceover for his home movie Texas Chainsaw Massacre type of
great
video he's doing. So I did it for him, and I did it for free because he was a young kid, and I thought, what the heck, right? But then he emailed me maybe a month later or something, and he wanted more, and I said, okay, well, this time I'm gonna have to charge you for it. I said, I gave you a freebie, and I'm gonna have to. Sorry, that was my phone vibrating. I don't know if you heard that. And
it likes the story.
It does like the story. It's quite nice. It is.
See, I thought he was going to say that some
fascinating.
kid contacted him, wanted him to voice a spot for Prince Albert in a can. Like tie that whole kind of thing. That should have been the tip off.
Right. Well, so he came back to me and I said no. But the point being is that he was like 12 or 13 years old, and he kept sort of. So
you got that sense that he was a young kid.
Right.
Okay.
So when I got this email from this guy over in Scotland, and he was sort of being all one-dimensional, in my mind, it did cross my mind, is this really this other kid who's, trying a different avenue now? That's sort of what I thought, at first. Anyway, so I told him what I normally do with new clients, although now I'm sort of rethinking this, that, and you know what, 90% of the time, I never have any issues. 90, even probably higher than that. Most clients are very good, you know, at least with my experience. I have, you know, sometimes maybe they can be a little late, or sometimes there's, you know, but 90% of the time, there's not really any major issues that happen. So that's why I had developed a formula that would be, I require half of the payment up front, and then you will receive, and then the other half of the payment on receiving the file, whether it's MP3
which is
or
not,
whatever
I mean,
it is.
there are a lot of voice
smart.
talent that'll do that.
I've sent stuff out with a watermark on it, and then like if they approve it,
right,
and payment comes through,
right,
then they get the unwatermarked version. So
exactly.
That's actually
not a bad idea.
Okay,
yeah.
Finish that. I want to get back to that.
Okay.
That's
yeah.
good.
Yeah, no, it's good, which I've actually done before too. I did that with an ad that I was doing for Michael Jackson's "This Is It" over in Africa, but that's a whole other thing. Anyway, so
For the King of Nigeria.
yeah, that's pretty much it. And that was a couple years ago now, that never panned out. That was a whole other thing. But anyway, but I thought it was a little strange because he had asked me, you know, how does the rate work? And I said, okay, well, it's not based on you know, how many lines there is, how many, you know, this kind of stuff. Is it for radio, TV, or film? No, it's for my own personal project that he's doing. So I said, okay, well, I'll charge you then like a narration rate, you know, because if it's not going to be airing on TV or radio, then I'll just charge you a narration rate, which is what I did, but I gave him a discount. So he then came back to me with the script, which didn't make any sense to me, but of course I'm reading these lines. He says, can you read a couple of lines for me and then send it to me so I know that this is what you sound like? And I said, if you go to my website and you play the trailer demo, you know that that's what I sound like. So instead of reading his script, what I did was I recorded myself doing the trailer voice, and I just said his name, and I made up some little sentence that required his name. Mixed that down, sent it to him, and that convinced him that I really was who he was dealing with. I thought that was better than, you know, reading the lines, because you don't want to read
give him the whole
lines.
script? I mean, you could do that.
Yeah, that's true. I could have done that. So anyway, so then he said, okay, well, I'm going to need some time to get the money. And, you know, it's really not a lot of money here, okay?
You're going to have to make some calls.
I gotta go knock a grandma over in the street.
You'd think I was charging him like $8,000. So but you know what? Fair enough. I said, okay, fine. You know, no worries. I mean, everybody has their budget. Everybody has this, that, and the other. So it was after the voiceover conference in Toronto. So it was probably maybe a week after that. So 3 weeks ago. He gets back to me. Actually, no, it was the weekend of the voiceover conference. He sends me an email and says, okay, I'm ready. Here's the money. And he pays me through PayPal, which comes in, but it comes from a different email account. It comes from a woman's name.
His mom.
With the same last name. And this is what I'm thinking. It's his mother, right? I'm thinking it's either his mother or his wife. And if it's his wife, then I feel sorry for his lack of, his lack of communication skills. Taking a drink of water. So anyway, so I thought, okay, so I get to it. I do the thing. I mix it down. I give him a couple of different reads, you know, being very nice. I send it to him, and I don't hear from him. No, sorry. And then I hear back, and I heard that I had pronounced the name of his quote unquote production company wrong. So I said, okay, fair enough. I said like a short A when it was supposed to be like a long A or something like that. So I said, okay, fair enough. I'll do that. So I do it, resend it. How does this sound? I don't hear back from him. Okay. I let a couple days go by because maybe he needs time to kind of, you know, I send him an email and I said, I'm assuming that everything is okay now. The other half of the payment is required. I don't hear from him. A week goes by and I send an email to the email address that was the email address
on the PayPal.
Okay. And I said,
he emailed his mom.
Yes, essentially. I'm going to tell mommy now. So I emailed his mom, who I'm suspecting is his mother or his wife or his sister or grandmother or something. And I said, explain the situation, who I am, yada, yada, yada. About a day later, actually not even, I think it was a few hours actually, if I recall correctly, I get an email from his email address now, but it's not supposed to be him. And he says, whoever this person is, because they didn't sign their name, but they're saying, oh, I'm so sorry. So-and-so has been in a bad car accident. Yada, yada, yada. I'm so sorry.
That's terrible.
It's awful. It really is.
Wow.
It really is.
Terrible.
It's just
what?
terrible.
In that case, I would probably want to, find somewhere where I could, maybe leave a note of grief.
Yes, exactly.
Like, that's like Facebook's great that way. I would think.
What? Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Thank you, AmiVO Mike. So what I did was, as a professional, and who knows. Maybe he really was. So I responded with skepticism, a healthy sense of skepticism, obviously, and I made the person aware that I was extremely skeptical because of the circumstances. But at the same time, I am a professional, and I said, however, if he has been in a car accident, please offer my sympathies to his, well, not sympathies, I guess, because that's what you'd do if he had passed. But my well wishes for him to get better,
my
right?
Regards my here's
regards
to a speedy recovery,
right? Exactly, which I did
with
say.
your hand on your wallet.
And then I didn't hear anything back. So then I decided to add him to Facebook because I'm thinking, well, maybe I'll add him to Facebook. I'll send him some well wishes, and I look him up on Facebook, and I realized that his profile is open, and he had, how you can check yourself in on. I'm now at Tim Hortons and it shows like a little map where you are or something. Well, he checked himself into some sort of beach resort with a couple of friends a couple of days prior. So obviously
recovery is
it's really bad.
Right?
So I send him an email and I'm very, very skeptical now. And I said...
Skeptical or sarcastic at this point?
Yeah, well, a little bit of both. And I basically called him out on it. And to which he then got back to me and said, you're creeping me on Facebook. What are you doing creeping me on Facebook? I'm in the hospital right now and I am recovering and this, that, and the other. And then I responded, and I said, well, then what's the name of the hospital? I said, what exactly is the name of the hospital? Because I'd like to send, a flower or a daisy or a card or a chocolate bar or something. And, or as they say in the United States, a candy bar. For our American friends.
They like having candy bars with their soda.
So and then he gets back, and there's this he said, she said, or sorry, this secretive sort of responses I keep getting from him, and then finally I call him out on it, and he says, well, if you're such a big shot, why do you care about the extra half of the money? Which wasn't really a lot. I mean, it was under $100. Okay,
it's the principle.
It's the principle, and I said that to him. I said, look, it's the principle of it. I said, I'm a professional. You're dealing with a professional. You said you would pay it. You're not paying it. I said, it's the principle. And because in the end, is it really a big deal? No, it's not really a big deal. But before he got away with it, because there's really not much I can do. I'm not going to hire a lawyer to go after, something that's like $90.
If you do, I've got a great law firm. Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. They're great.
Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe? Sounds like a... Dewey Cheatham. I see. Now that's a joke between you guys that I don't understand.
Oh, jeez.
Dewey
Cheatham and Howe.
Oh, I get it now.
It's such an old joke. I can't believe that he dusted it off and brought it out.
I didn't get it. That must be why I like the Care Bears. So anyway, I think no, and I really never did watch the Care Bears. It was just the first thing that came to my mind in our second
very
vodcast.
telling.
But that goes back to our second vodcast. If you haven't listened to it, I suggest you should. So anyway, to wrap this up, so his last emails to me, essentially, I will read.
Yes,
I will read the last several.
The censor button ready.
Yeah,
that's right. Get the censor button, and you will.
If you didn't know that he was under 16 when he used the phrase creeping,
and he's not under 16. He actually is about 22 years old.
Oh wow!
But he's he looks like. One of those guys, and I'll leave the audience to their imagination. So he says to me,
"Duck face peace sign is." That's what he is. Duck face peace sign. No. Selfie.
Didn't they open the second stage at Lollapalooza in 95?
Duck face peace sign. I'm thinking of all these 18-year-old girls on dating websites
my
now.
band name. If I start it'll be duck face peace sign selfie.
So here's what he says. I say to him this. I say to him. That's too long. What did I say? Okay, so I basically was talking about the principle of it, right? And he gets back to me and he sees, is the beep ready? Here we go. He says, "See my principle, fuck you." And so I get back to him and I say, "Thank you, so-and-so. I will not reveal his name because I'm still a nice guy. Thank you, so-and-so. Your words are wonderful to me. Enjoy your weekend and good luck with the car accident recovery. Wink. And he gets back to me and he says, ram your stupid voice right up your ass. to my response is, thank you, so-and-so. You're very mature. And at this point, I mean, I have been professional the whole way through.
To a fault.
Absolutely
Yes, to a
professional.
fault.
Absolutely.
To a fault. And, you know, and then here is where I sort of just, you know, I'm not unprofessional. I just, well, you know.
Gloves are off?
That's right. And I just basically said, thank you, so-and-so. You're very mature. I'm sure you'll amount to a lot in life with the IQ of a walnut. Next time you choose to lie, please do a better job. And I have not heard from him since. And to our listeners, my response may have sounded maybe a little harsh, but if you read the entire transcript, you would see that it was appropriate.
So that's why AmiVO Dave is angry.
That's why Dave's angry.
That's okay.
I'm angry.
You don't want to see Dave when he's angry.
We cheat him out.
You didn't know that. Good
I
Lord.
can't believe I didn't know it. God, I'm behind.
But that's good. The car accident, the mom using the car accident. I like that.
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't think it was his mother that I think it was him that used the car accident thing. Yeah.
Let it be a lesson.
So that brings us into the discussion of what do you do? What do you do when you're dealing with a client that is overseas, that is local? Do you ask for payment up front? Do you watermark your stuff? What do you do?
That's an interesting thing with the watermarking. I mean, back in the days when I worked in radio, we used to have talent on the air who were union repped.
Right.
And if they were doing commercials in studio for the radio station, they had to be watermarked going out. So
they wouldn't run it on other radio stations in other markets without a talent fee coming in.
But that's interesting, though, that what AmiVO Garnet was saying is that you send it out watermarked, and then when you pay me, I will send you an unwatermarked version of it.
Or I send it with the last sentence missing.
Oh, that's interesting.
Be like a 30-second commercial. I'll send them the spot with the last sentence. Maybe it's a sentence that has their phone number or their address or their website, and they sign off on it. They like it. I'm not going to screw up the last sentence if they like the
That's true.
the bulk of
That's
it.
true.
So once they sign off on that, then I send them the full version with no interruptions or watermarks or anything like that, and get the payment.
Ordinarily, I've never, I don't really have any issues when asking for half the payment up front, half the payment on the, on the delivery of the file. But now, I figure in a lot of businesses, that's not how it works. I mean, you pay in full, and then you receive. When you go to the store to buy milk, you don't pay half for milk, and then you get the other half. And you bring you pay for it full. So I think my being nice and my being can be maybe a little too much at times. Where I think I'm a little harder for that.
I'm naturally cynical, and it's sad that what do they say? A couple of bad apples spoil the bunch. But there's been so many voice actors that have been defrauded by clients in such a way that have been left hanging, half payments, just put off, or they just they Casper, they just disappear after they get the voice track, and you never hear from them again in any way, shape, or form.
Nice.
That
Casper reference.
Sorry,
that was
you
good.
like that?
That was good.
Trademarking that's mine.
That is almost as good as There Were So Many Balls Like a Party at Jenna Jameson's. That was
more balls flying around than a party at Jenna Jameson's. Yeah, thank you very much.
That's good.
Again, refer to previous podcast if you want to understand what the hell we're talking about.
One-liner Garnet.
But this is something that going back to the getting stiffed on payment and having to do this more so now. I said stiff. Seriously, this podcast has gotten completely juvenile. But a lot of that, though, I would think is because now there are so many talent that are using, that are doing voice work through their websites, through stuff that they get, as opposed to going through an agent. Like if I do something for the agency, I know, they may get stiffed, but it's a lot tougher for them to try and scooch out on payment, as opposed to if it's something that I'm doing through a client that's come to the website or that I've gotten through other ways.
Right.
But it seems to me that it's always on the nickel and dime stuff.
Yeah. It is, and I think it. I really think it depends on who you're dealing with. Obviously, I mean, obviously this kid, he's 22 years old. When I went to his Facebook page, I'm not trying to profile anybody here, but he looked he looked like
a douche.
He presented himself in a very I mean, so am I surprised by his behavior? No, I'm not. And I think he was just some guy that was doing a video for somebody he was helping out, and he decided, I want to get this trailer voice. So he goes online. I just happened to be the sucker that he found. And although I did get half of the money, but still, I was the guy that he came across, and I was dealing with somebody who was juvenile and just a punk kid. That's
you took the high road, and like you said, you got a little bit of coin out of it. So
yeah, exactly.
And you got a little dig in there too. So.
Yeah, I got a little dig in there. I got the last word.
So don't be angry, Dave.
Don't be angry.
I'm not angry.
We don't like angry Dave.
You won't like it.
We like happy fun time Dave.
Happy fun time Dave.
Happy fun time Dave. I'm over it. I mean, I am because
obviously.
Like it's not it wasn't a lot of money, and it was just I was emailing him. I mean, I knew probably about 15 emails in, and when I say from the beginning, probably 3 emails. After I had emailed the file, I knew at that point I'm not seeing this money, but I'm not going to let this guy get away with it until he knows that I know that he's full of crap.
I think what we'll have to find out, because what you're experiencing, there probably is a medical definition for that kind of feeling
you're right.
you're having.
We'll have to ask Patrick Sweeney about it.
Patrick will probably know, because even on his website, themedicalvoice.com,
yes,
he says some words that I wouldn't even begin to know.
I know all about renal failure now.
Renal failure.
There was one it began with like an H. It was something like hypothyroidism. And I'm just thinking, and he says it. The hypothyroidism was over here of the hypothyroidism. And I'm thinking, how does he do it?
Is that a medical narration or the follow-up to Snow's Informer? Canadian musical reference.
Snow. Lick it, boom, boom, down.
Snow Informer, 1990, was it 3, I think?
In that ballpark.
Informer.
So, for all our global visitors, you may have heard it, but go ahead to check on iTunes, Snow Informer, and you'll get the joke. We'll be back, and we're going to talk to Patrick Sweeney, the what's a good medical term for him? I'm trying to find a nice adjective to go with Pat Sweeney.
Patrick Sweeney, the renal failure man.
Renal failure Patrick Sweeney joins the AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour VOdcast right after this AmiVO iceberg tip.
The 3 AmiVOs.
Warning. We'll be right back.
Changing the voiceover industry 1 toque at a time.
We're going to take a little break, but we'll be back in a while, so don't nobody go nowhere.
Here's another 3 AmiVOs iceberg tip.
Hey folks, AmiVO Dave here. For those of you who are passionate about animation and would love one day to be the voice of a cartoon character in an animated movie, video game, or everything else in between, or at least give yourself a chance at it, your animation demo needs to be more than just you sitting in a room dishing out your best Arnold impression. This isn't an impressionist demo. Remember, the voices must be original characters that you create. Make sure you have the characters doing something. Every clip must have the character in the middle of something that shows off the character's traits, range, personalities, fears, everything. This not only shows off your acting range, but how well you can sustain the character's voice too. No one cares to hear Arnold Schwarzenegger's "Get to the chopper!" Yeah! on your demo. That's great, but can you talk like them for 25 minutes or even 10 seconds? Every clip must be original. Every clip must sound like an actual cartoon with original characters. The demo must be professionally produced, mixed and mastered by someone who gets and knows how to put together animation demos. Not every producer has the ear or technical know-how to understand an authentic animation demo and how it should be put together. Do your research. The better, more authentic your animation demo sounds, the better chance you have on dipping your toe into the pool.
And now, the AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour VOdcast.
Everyone ready?
Yeah.
Welcome back to the AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour VOdcast. We need some sort of a musical drum roll or something.
We do, because, we need some sort of, humongous, maybe like 2001 A Space Odyssey type theme.
I'll
you know what I mean?
take care of it in post. Just drawing attention to it.
All right, fine. I guess that's how it goes.
Well, just imagine the Space Odyssey 2001 theme is playing.
Yes.
Da, 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 because the AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour Vodcast actually has friends on this edition of the show.
Yes, we do.
Our very first guest, and what a fantastic inaugural guest, the man who can tell you so much about Garnet's favorite topic, renal failure. Please welcome to the VOdcast, Patrick Sweeney. Patrick Sweeney!
Hey guys, how you doing?
You seem...
Are we friends already? I just met you guys yesterday.
yeah, that's true.
Oh, you better not say that, because we've already been pimping the fact that we're such good friends. We're so close.
Yeah,
Canadians are tight people, we get to know each other quickly.
Well, that truly is. So Patrick Sweeney, who is he's a voice talent who's come from not the traditional, I guess, background sense. Many voice talents seem to come from the world of broadcasting and radio and television and all the likes. But Patrick has made his way here from completely outside of the broadcasting realm. You did something in a previous life that, well, now has probably turned into a voice niche for you. So where did the Patrick Sweeney story start? And bring us up to speed.
Well, I was born at St. Michael's Hospital.
Not that far back.
Oh, sorry, that's too far back.
In 1925.
Well, you know what? I went to Ryerson University. I came to a fork in the road. I could take business administration, or I could take radio and TV. And I sat down with a radio station general manager, and I learned a bit about the business. I think it's important to do your due diligence before you make those key decisions. And
that's the
I was
first big
influenced
word
certainly by my family, and I kind of went into the business route.
That's the first big word. I think we need a bell for every time Patrick Sweeney uses a big word, because
that's right.
You kind of threw Mike with the word due diligence.
Diligence. That's
what does that mean again?
Far too many syllables.
I forgot. We're informal tonight. Sorry.
Sorry. Continue, Patrick.
I went the business. I went the business route, and I got into sales and sold lots of consumer packaged products initially, and then I got into the healthcare medical world. And I worked there for about 25 years in sales, marketing, sales training, sales management, etc. Worked in pharmaceuticals, sold drugs out of the trunk of my car. Good drugs.
The drugs
pharmaceutical drugs.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Is pharmaceutical too big of a word?
No, that's a good one. That's two.
Okay.
That's two.
Ding.
And I worked in the medical supply area, wound care management. That's pretty exciting stuff.
Wow.
Wound care management.
Wound care management. Pretty,
still around?
Pretty ugly stuff. I saw a lot of things that I don't want to repeat.
Okay.
And also I was working in the dental industry as well. So I've kind of covered 3 areas of our healthcare system. So I worked in various management roles. And you want to know how I got into voiceover?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, how do you go from wound management
and selling drugs out of the back of your trunk to voiceover?
Well, my wife and I are pretty simple and very practical people. We sat down one day and we said, you know what, we're both in the healthcare industry. And looking long term, it doesn't look bright because there's a lot of mergers, acquisitions, people getting packages. And the longer you stay in the healthcare industry, the stronger the chance you are you're getting a package. So we decided one of us would be diversifying. And that is me. I am the diversify-E.
Now,
wait, I think diversify counts as a big word. So
is that a big word? Oh, sorry.
So. I think so. Now, was it you or your wife that decided it to be you, or was it a joint decision?
No. You know, I was starting out in 2003, doing some workshops, and I loved it. I really did. But you know why? Because it was totally different than what I was doing. Managing people, managing budgets, business planning, strategizing, and this just allowed me to get creative and check out the other side of my brain. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I always heard, oh, you got a great voice, Pat. You should go into radio. And I kind of said, you know what? Way back when, I took the other fork in the road. But, I thought, you know what, I'm not getting any younger. I want to explore this area of voiceover. And I was hooked after the first workshop. I loved it.
Well, that's something the way you said it there, I mean, you'd done the other career and you weren't getting any younger. Well, sorry, Patrick, you're not old by any means. Because
this is my second career. So,
but there are I've had talent, or I've had people that have come to me that, in a similar situation, went through an entire lifetime of another career. And, I always wanted to do this, but, it's too late for me to get started. But really, I think voice acting is one of the few entertainment fields where age doesn't really matter, because there is some place or some area you can fit in no matter what the age is.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I mean, it really comes down to the individual. I mean, are you open-minded to relearn and try something different and just explore and be entrepreneurial? I mean, it's totally different than what I used to do. And you really have to take that initiative and jump in the sandbox and play. And you got to be an actor and take some improv classes and just keep an open mind. Don't have any regrets when you're 60 or 70 or 50 or 40.
For sure.
Just explore. Go for it.
Now, when you started, did you were you an actor or a theater buff while you were still doing your medical career? Or
no, I was taking more workshops, and I ultimately did get into improv, and I took a number of improv levels at Bad Dog Theater and thoroughly enjoyed that. And I still need to take some acting lessons. I want to become a better actor, and I'm a big believer that you always get better and better, and training is ongoing throughout anyone's career. I'll never know everything, so I will continue to train, and there's always something to learn in voiceover.
That's true.
You were saying, I mean, as far as being open to change and adapting, do you find that because you got into the game later than some, that it's easier for you to adapt to that change? I mean, my point of reference has always been sort of going back to broadcasting, that you look at DJs, jocks, whatever you want to call them, the ones that have been around since the dawn of albums, who never quite grasped the idea that social media is now more important part of broadcasting than actually spinning records. Those guys are the ones that are bitter, that refuse to change. Do you find that coming in sort of not necessarily jaded, but sort of later on in your career, that it's easier for you to accept that change, to adapt to that change?
You know what? I don't want to put an age on anything. I mean, and I think it really comes down to the individual. I mean, how badly do you want to do voiceover, no matter what your age? I mean, are you prepared to go back and learn from the basics? I mean, if you were doing, if you were a DJ for 20 or 30 years, are you willing to go back and learn how to act properly and deliver differently? So it's really an internal frame of mind, I think. And it really comes down to each individual. How open-minded are you to change and learning new skill sets? Because, there are some skill sets that I'm certainly learning in the voiceover world that I never utilized in healthcare. But there's a lot of skill sets I learned in healthcare that I'm definitely applying now to this business. And it is a business, as you guys know.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of an interesting sort of view from it, because not a lot of new talent or new to the business understand that it's a business. They see it as, oh, hey, I can just talk and get paid for it and work in my house coat.
Yeah.
Whereas the way you talk about it, it really is a business, and you come in with a business plan. It's not just, hey, I want to do this, so give me jobs.
But not just a business plan, a business frame of mind because of your experience as well.
Absolutely. And I find some of the people I've met at the various conferences, and even in the VO and TO group here in Toronto, as people evolve into this voiceover world as a second or a third career, they bring a lot to the table. I mean, they bring prior experiences and skill sets. And I find that people are very practical in how they approach this industry. They're maybe a bit more patient, where some of the younger people are impatient. They want it immediately. Where maybe somebody a little bit more mature or in their 40s or 50s know exactly what they want, and they're patient. This is what they want to do. They want to be an audiobook narrator, and they're prepared to invest in skill sets and in themselves and in their business. So, but it really comes down to each individual. Everybody is different.
Now, I want to jump in here. You guys have asked some pretty heavy questions here, some very deep, insightful.
I thought this was going to be informal. My goodness,
some very deep, insightful kind of stuff.
Okay, do I need to break wind to lighten this up? Is that what it is?
I think you need to continue drinking.
I would have to.
How's your beers over there?
I would like to flatulate. There's my big word for this.
Ding, 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 ding. I'm going to ask you something just because I'm kind of curious, because I've done some narrations, I've done some e-learning and stuff like that, but the medical
Molson
stuff...
Export, that's what I'm drinking. Oh, sorry.
The medical narration stuff, we've touched on. It's going to be a much bigger topic in a future VOdcast, but we've touched on like horror stories, studio horror stories, or client horror stories. I'm just wondering, in medical narrations or any projects actually, Pat, whatever you've done, what's like a dream gig that you had that you were just over the moon about that went off without a hitch, and what's one that was like such a train wreck that you never wanted to hear from the client again?
To be honest, Garnet, I haven't had too many negative experiences, apart from the odd glitch with maybe Skype acting up on me, and that it was a little embarrassing. I recently had one session earlier this week, and I had difficulty pronouncing the company's name. It was a European company, and boy, if you don't nail down the company's name,
that's a bad omen right there.
You've got issues. Yeah, no, the company was spelled AHOLD, Ahold, and I was saying Ahold. So I was corrected a few times on that one. A dream gig. I recently did a documentary film called Inner World, Outer World, and it's receiving rave reviews and film festivals all over the world.
Cool.
Just got an email from the client that was really a joy to work with. He sat in on every phone patch, and he's been out there in Berlin and all over Europe and North America, and he's been showing Inner World, Outer World, and he's won some festivals, and he's told me as well he's received some negative reviews. So you're not going to please everybody in life.
No, you're not.
But he was pleased, and he's got another film that he's working on, and he wants me to work with him again. So you always love it when they come back a second or a third time.
Absolutely. Patrick, you've had a lot of experience attending, voiceover conferences, and it's one thing to talk to the organizers who organize it and whatnot, but you have the great perspective, as many do, being someone who is not an organizer and just attending. You recently attended Voice World Toronto, which of course, I saw you there, and you've also attended FavCon, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And a couple of times at FavCon.
A couple of times, right. And you've also attended Voice as well, is that correct?
Voice 2010.
Voice 2010, and I believe you were also on the voiceover cruise, correct?
Yeah, the Voice Olympics cruise run by Deb Monroe.
Yeah, so you've had a lot of experience attending some very well-known voiceover conferences within the industry. Tell me your experience from the objective side. I mean, you're not heavily involved in the organization of it. You're just going as a voice talent, as many do. What is your perspective on FavCon and Voice and the Voice Olympics and Voice World? And what are the differences and what sort of have you taken from it?
Well, first of all, as I said earlier, I love learning, and as I said, ongoing training, interacting with other voice talent that follow the same path as I. We have a lot in common. It's amazing the people, not only here in Toronto, but the people that I meet all over North America. Everybody is passionate about voiceover, and you never want to stop talking about it. It just simply amazes me, versus the healthcare industry where, you're very prim and proper and, professional, and everybody is fairly competitive too. Where in the voiceover world, whether, you're at a conference or not, everybody is so sharing and giving and learning from one another and feeding off of each other and building relationships. You go to one conference, no matter any of those conferences, you've got friends for life after that conference. I went on the Voice Olympics cruise. I had like 80 or 90 new friends coming back home. FAFCon experience, amazing. The unconference of conferences, amazing working talent that are willing to share, give. They have no agenda. The agenda is put together based upon the needs of the group and those people that want to present over the course of 2 days. Sessions are put together, and you select which sessions you go to over the course of Saturday and Sunday. Thoroughly enjoy the FAFCon experience. Amy Snively and her team of organizers do a fantastic job. And again, I'm the type of guy that knows the value of a relationship, whether it's a customer that hires you or another voice talent somewhere in the world that does voiceover as well. You know, they know stuff that you can certainly learn from, and it's a two-way street. And I've learned so much from other fellow talent about certain things. I mean, you guys know as a voice talent, we wear how many hats? 10, 15, 20? We do a lot lot of different things.
Yeah,
we wear toques.
Yeah, the toques. Yeah,
that's
I've
right.
got mine on right now. Yeah, lumberjack pattern.
Well, of course.
There you go.
Now, but
definitely, I love going to conferences. I go to learn and to share and build relationships. And I look for 1 or 2 or 3 nuggets to bring home and apply to my business. And that's about it.
Now,
it gets me out of the studio too, which
absolutely.
I like to do.
Well, I think we all enjoy social interaction that doesn't involve Skype or a phone patch or ISDN.
I love interaction that allows me to get dressed.
True enough.
That's just what it is.
But speaking of interaction, I mean, a big part of the voiceover landscape now, as opposed to, say, 10 years ago, is social media. It's the Facebooks, the Twitters, the Google Pluses. How do you see the use of that social media now? Do you see that talent are maybe overutilizing or perhaps not utilizing it in the right way?
Yeah, wow. What is the right way with social media? I'm not really sure the right way of social media, but I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Twitter. I got a couple accounts on Twitter, and I'm on Facebook, and I'm a social guy. I love interacting with people that I meet at these conferences. You know, I put a face to a name, and I know who they are, where they are, and what they're doing, and I can stay in touch with them after that conference. Just a way to maintain that relationship. I use it personally just as a social component to my business and to keep in touch. And obviously, recently I launched my medical website. I wanted to share that concept and project that was just launched with my friends and colleagues that supported me and cultivated and helped me conceive that idea down at FAFCon 5 last year. So a number of people knew what I was doing, and I just wanted to share that success. So the same thing here in Toronto. We have a Facebook group called VOdcast, and as much as we meet at a local pub in a room, you know, we can carry that discussion outside into Facebook in our group, and we can maintain those relationships and stay in touch with each other between mixers. So I think it really meets different needs depending on the individual. For me, it's more of a social component. It's late at night to stay in touch with people and share what everyone's doing. Everyone uses it different, though. I know some people use it to find work. I use it more from a social standpoint.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned the VO and TO group. I've been part of that for, well, several months now, but the Toronto Mixers, which is like a monthly event, I went to my first one just last month or this month, beginning of this month.
When the Leafs were playing.
Beginning of May, yeah. When the Leafs were in the playoffs. So it was a nice quiet atmosphere in the bar, as you can imagine.
May the 8th,
I scheduled that one on the wrong night.
Yes.
But I liked the concept, and I had fun. There was several people that I had met online, Jody Krangle, that had talked about it, yourself, Pat, Bev Standing, and it was nice getting to meet these people in a social setting and just sharing ideas. Again, be nicer if the Leafs weren't on screen losing at the time. But just wondering, how did that come about, doing this? Because I'm sure there are groups like that get together in every city. There's a voiceover community, and somebody has to take that step to organize something like that and be the one that says, hey, everybody, we all do the same kind of thing. Let's get together and share ideas and share experiences. So how did you end up putting together the mixer?
Well, many years ago when I was getting into the industry, I always was looking for that mentor. I had a million questions, and it was hard to find other voice talent locally. And I'm thinking, where is everybody? We got a city here of 3+ million people, and I couldn't find anybody to get these questions answered. And online one day, I meet somebody way up in Newmarket, just north of Toronto, and her name is Jody Krangle. And we were both very motivated to get together one day, and we met at the Frog and Firkin, which is kind of north of the downtown city area, and we met for lunch. It just started from that point onward, and we met a number of times along with another colleague, Matt Spears, and we just kind of said, hey, where is everybody? There's got to be other people. Let's organize this social thing. So the word started spreading through my coach, Ellie Ray Hennessy, a number of voice talent, and it started small, and it just kind of grew on its own. Right now, I think we're up to about 200 people. We get anywhere from 20, 25 to 50 people out, depending upon the session. And it's just an opportunity to socialize. Everybody comes for different reasons. For me, it's a reason to get out of the studio and socialize with other talent.
Oh, for sure.
To network, to share.
I noticed it was a nice mix as well of union and non-union, and people that do commercial work or people that do audiobooks. Like it was a great cross-section of all kinds of people from the voiceover industry.
Yeah, there's no barriers to the group. Anyone is welcome, whether they're curious about the industry or they've been doing it for 30 years. Union, non-union, young, old, everybody is welcome. There's no money involved, thank goodness. It would just make the whole process a little bit more challenging to manage.
No, for sure.
But yeah, everybody's welcome. And again, everybody comes for different reasons. And I don't really work hard to grow this group. It's just word of mouth. And I mean, I got a full-time business in voiceover to manage. But I periodically send out an email to the 200 people. And hey, you know what? If 2 people show up, great. But, you know, it keeps growing.
No, I think it's a great idea because, you know, many years ago, I sort of was looking for that kind of group as well, and it actually surprised me, as I'm sure it did you, Pat.
Absolutely.
That how little in a city like Toronto, the 4th largest in North America, the economic and entertainment capital of Canada. You know, it's huge metropolis here. That there was not a voiceover meetup group, at least not that I knew of any kind. And
there was nothing. I was asking around.
Yeah, it surprised me initially, but now the VO and TO. I mean, I think there's probably, I don't know how many people are on the Facebook group now, 130 or something like that. I mean,
about 120, 130.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And what you've done is you've laid out a platform for anybody to come and show up in a relaxed environment, and I think it's just continuing to grow and become really successful.
Well, we're all human. I think we need that personal interaction. We need to get out of our studios and just, talk about the business and share. And you know what? Sometimes you need to kind of support some people too. Like, hang in there, okay? Be patient. It'll come. Are you doing this? Are you doing that? So, I can certainly share some of my pearls, but I learn a ton from the other people in the group as well. I try to take a look at the group, and I tap into certain specialties and experiences, and it amazes me the backgrounds of some of these people. I mean, internet marketing, business planning backgrounds, home studio backgrounds. And I just say, hey, I don't have any budget to pay you. I can buy you a beer and some dinner. Would you mind speaking for 15 minutes?
Which in Canada, I mean,
here's a motivator.
That's currency.
That's just as good as money.
Women have had me for less.
Liquid gold.
I'll buy you a case of beer. Now,
Absolutely.
Speaking of nuggets, and this is something I wanted to touch back on your medical background, and now you've launched the new site, themedicalvoice.com.
Themedicalvoice.com.
Okay, which is the site.
Great site.
It's a great site.
It is. It's
Thank
really
you.
simple. It's effective. If you haven't been to it, you got to go to it, especially if you're looking for medical narration.
It's a great example of somebody, a voice talent that has taken a niche that they're very good at, that speaks to a specific organization or a specific industry, and you've got a clean site with. I don't know. I
just love how simple it is.
It is.
And how effective it looks. I'm not searching for anything. I go to it, bang, there's everything. Your demos are on every single page but your contact page. But that's really good. I mean, every page I go to, there's the demos, there are the demos, there are the demos. And it's just, I think there's only like 4 or 5 pages on the whole site. It's simple, it's effective, it's just clean. It's got this clean feel to it.
And it's not...
Thanks, guys.
And it's
no,
not...
I believe in the KISS principle. I mean, I believed in it back in my business days, but also here. Keep it simple. I mean, we do a lot of different things. You know, I don't spend too much time doing something to the nth degree. Keep it simple. And you know what? At the end of the day, I think I just had a couple of goals in mind. One would be that any visitor listen to my demos, and second thing would be to be able to contact me easily. Those are the 2 goals, simple, and keep it easy to navigate. So I appreciate your feedback.
Oh, well, sure. and the fact that it is niche. I mean, keep saying the word niche, but a lot of voice talent, especially newer talent, and admittedly some seasoned talent, are constantly in this, let's just throw every demo known to man out there. Which, I mean, even now you see a lot of newer talent who are throwing up demos just for the sake of throwing up demos. Well, I've got to have an animation demo. I've got to have this. But it's something where you've found where a strength is that not a lot of people can do. I can't say I can say renal failure, but no, I'm sure you could throw a few.
What was that word, Patrick? There was one demo on your site where you said it like 4 or 5 times, very close to each other, all in the same demo, and I think it began with an H.
Hypophosphatemic rickets. I can't even say it now.
Wow. That's what it was. It was
hypophosphatemic rickets. See, I can't even say it.
Hypo or hypo?
Hypo or hyper.
Hypophospho.
Deficient or hyper.
Hypophosphatemic
and I'm
rickets.
Hypophosphatemic rickets.
Hypophosphatemic rickets.
Or hyper.
Hypophosphatemic rickets. Hypophosphatemic rickets.
But to the average voice talent, I mean, one thing is it's tough enough as a voice talent to read cold.
Yes.
But to get a script that has that,
you know what? I'm no different from anybody. I mean, I still review it to the nth degree as well.
I make sure that it
try to be as fluid as possible. And trust me, I practice too. Some words come a little bit easier, but there's some long ones that you do have to practice, and you got to get really comfortable. I've worked in a lot of different therapeutic areas. That helps a little bit, but there's some therapeutic areas with certain terms that I'm not as comfortable with. But you just practice those tough words. But you don't come across too many challenging words too often in some medical scripts, I have to admit.
Right. Don't say that, Patrick, because then all of a sudden you're going to open it up to what? I can put a medical narration demo on my site too? Oh.
I know. But just to further to your point, Mike, you know, I think when we first get into the business, we want to post all our demos, and you know, we want to do this, we want to do that, and we want to work in different genres. And I found in talking to a few of the talents at various conferences that clients actually want to box us. They want us to be labeled, and so they can remember who we are and what we do. And I had a tough time with that initially, thinking, okay, I want to be as versatile as possible, and that, you know, send the message to the client that I can do a lot of different things, like Dave McRae. And you know,
who's that?
Some dog.
I don't know. Some bum in Toronto.
But some clients want to make it easy. They want to put Dave McRae in this box and Garnet in this box and Mike in this box. And I just wanted to make it easy for the client that I was going after. And it would certainly support my segment marketing as well. It makes it easier to deliver a very simple message. Pat is the medical voice. This is his material. This is experience. And I'm 100% dedicated that I've worked in the business 25 years. I think anyone has to leverage their background. I mean, we are who we are in the past. You know, maybe I'm going to be that medical corporate guy, and I'll be very happy doing that. So if that's who I am, and that's my past defines who I am in the future, I'm comfortable with that.
Well, if I ever need hypodystrophic rickets,
call your doctor, not the medical voice.
But if I want to say it in a script, I call the medical voice.
I'd be more than happy to help you.
Which is a great name too. I mean, this is, if anybody is listening who is, you know, is contemplating their niche, maybe there is a specific niche that they're very good at because of their background or because of, you know, something. Patrick is a perfect example who has, you know, not that you're not great at everything else. I mean, you have an animation demo, you have a commercial demo, but there is a specific niche that you have found which you are very, very good at because of your background. And, you know, you're a perfect example for anybody in a similar position who may be doubting themselves or who may not be confident or who may be looking for that person who has done it too.
Now, Patrick, thank you for being our first guest on the VOdcast. You are going to go down in the annals of history,
the history books.
History books.
You are. I mean, there can never be another first guest again. You are.
Yeah, well, I appreciate
you even
thinking of me. I'm honored. Thank you. Well, and if you take this road show to Quebec, call yourself the AmiVO's.
AmiVO. Well played.
You can steal that one.
Well
AmiVO's.
Well played. We will see you coming up in June for the next VO in TO.
June 19th, Frog and Firkin and Roger King from P&A Agency is going to be speaking.
There you go.
All right, perfect.
If you've wanted to find out about the agency side of things, a perfect time for you to come and check that out. Patrick Sweeney, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, Patrick, and we will talk to you soon.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys. Good
Thanks,
luck.
Patrick.
Take
care.
What an absolute, the guy is so nice.
The guy's amazing.
He's too nice.
He's
not
nice.
but it's not just nice. He's genuine. He's real.
Absolutely.
You know, and you can sense it, you can feel it. And when you meet him in person, if anybody ever has the opportunity to meet Patrick Sweeney in person, you know, meeting him, he's just genuine. He gives you his full attention. You know, you feel like you're the only one in the room. You know, and he's just a really, really nice guy and extremely talented.
That is such a John Hughes moment right there.
He makes me feel like a natural woman.
John Hughes. This is not
VO.
This is not Pretty in Pink, ladies and gentlemen.
It's not. No, but what
you know what I'm saying?
I
Though.
absolutely do.
Totally.
Yeah, for sure.
And he really has. He's done a great job at taking his past experience. I mean, as he said himself, he had a career before this, and wanted to do it, and now he's actually transferable skills from his medical background into voiceover, right. And he's carved himself a niche that really, I mean, I've tried medical narration.
I've done medical narration, but get this, I've done medical narration once in my life. It was down at Boombox Sound in Toronto.
Okay,
probably about, I'm going to say 4 years ago. 4 years ago. It was 2009 maybe. And they wanted the trailer voice. So I am speaking hypotensive rickets, that kind of stuff in the trailer voice. And it was for some sort of online... It wasn't medical narration in the sense that I'm teaching. It's like, you know, you're learning from a textbook and you're listening to something like, but it was an online video talking about drugs and things
Gonorrhea.
Like that. Yeah, and there was a lot of crazy stuff in there, and but it was supposed to be like epic, you know, and it was just I
Gonorrhea can be epic.
Apparently it can. I was there for probably what seemed like all day, and I was screwing up and not saying it right because I didn't see the script beforehand. I didn't have a chance to look it over. I thought I was going and just reading some sort of online video. It turned out to be medical. It was brutal. My hat goes off to Patrick because it definitely is something that, I mean, it takes skill.
Yeah.
Skill, which we have none, apparently.
We have none.
We have very little skill.
While we ponder our lack of skill.
Yes, and speaking of skill, though, I want to talk to you when we get back from the break. The skill that having children... we can work on our skills, and how do I want to phrase this? A good reason to have children as a VO, and the skill that you can improve because of that. Does that make any sense?
Kind of, sort of.
As far as I'm concerned, it should be the only reason to have children.
That and how the Russian dialect all blends together.
That's next.
See? That's a segue again.
That's good.
That's good.
That's coming up next, isn't it?
When we return on the AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour VOdcast.
And now, it's time for another 3 AmiVO's Fun Fact.
Hey, AmiVO Garnet here. You might know that AmiVO Mike and I get auditions for a lot of the same clients. We both have that youthful je ne sais quoi quality that toy companies really like. But one time, we both auditioned for a client, and it led to us actually working together, but separately. I'll explain. The client was Mary Brown's Chicken, and they had a concept that called for 2 chickens, one smart and one dumb, to banter back and forth. The smart one, Chuck, was played by me, and the dumb one, Stanley, was AmiVO Mike. It wasn't until we were cast, though, that we found out we'd be working together. And we didn't even record together. We did it via phone patch with the studio, and they put the spot together after the fact. I knew Mike as the guy that did Air Hogs and East Side Marios, but hearing his character work and just seeing his versatility with character voices, well, that's when I planned to get close to him through this whole 3 AmiVO's thing and take him out once and for all, because there can be only one! Hell, did I say that last bit out loud? How do I erase this?
And now, the AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour Vodcast.
Everyone ready?
Yeah.
Welcome back to the AmiVO and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour Vodcast. Just about to wrap up episode number 3. Again, our thanks to Patrick Sweeney. If you are somebody who wants to get into medical narration, or if it's something that interests you, what a great guy to get in touch with and to just pick his brain. And he will be more than happy and gracious to lend his expertise to you. Before we wrap up, though, this is something we talked about off air. But I thought it was kind of funny. You brought it up, Dave, that Garnet and I have young children. Mm-hmm. You have a son and a daughter.
I do.
And as do I. They're about in the same age range, aren't they?
Yeah, my boy actually is turning 11 this Saturday, and my daughter will be 9 in September.
Okay, so I have an 8 and 5, but still ballpark.
So both of you guys have young children. Yeah. I am a young child.
That's perfect. Yes. You'll get this. Because maybe you do this to yourself when you're in grocery stores.
Not that to yourself.
I do.
Something else.
I do it through the Tim Hortons drive-thrus.
But as voice talent, I mean, this is something that I think many of us with children are guilty of. That some of our best audience, well, we work our material not on clients and on friends. We do it on our kids. Mm-hmm. And your daughter is very similar to my son in that you did something in a grocery store which mortified her.
Yeah. She usually likes the voices, especially when we were, when we were little. When she was little. When she was littler, it's awesome reading a bedtime story and you're doing all the different voices for the different characters, stuff like that. And you can't help it because I've been doing that since I was a kid when I'd read stuff for myself. So
for sure.
Getting the kids was just a bonus to, hey, built-in audience, and they can't tell me to piss off.
And they can't run away.
Well,
that's the only reason why you had kids.
Until recently we're out grocery shopping, and it wasn't my intent to embarrass her, but she's 8. I didn't think that she could be embarrassed to this degree, but turns out I was very wrong. So she comes up to me and she had this yogurt, Go-Gurt or something like that, but it's in a tube. It's not your standard yogurt. It's not, it's not like yogurt when I was a boy. It was this newfangled yogurt that's in a tube.
It's toothpaste
and she,
yogurt.
Invariably, you don't get sick of hearing this. Dad, can we get this? Dad, can we get this? So she comes over with that, and I had been muttering to myself in a Russian accent, trying to perfect it and just working on my Russian accent. So I looked at it and I go, what? Give me this. What do we have here? This yogurt in tube? No, we don't. Our family no have yogurt in tube. Yogurt in cup only. And I just got louder and louder, and she
in the middle of the grocery store,
and she, tried to interrupt me, but I kept saying, no, I don't want to hear about yogurt in tube. And
you were in full performance mode at this point.
And there's other people getting their milk and their eggs and stuff, and they're turning and looking at this raging Russian man who has something against yogurt in a tube.
And they're thinking that poor child.
My daughter went beet red out of embarrassment. She's whispering, Dad, shut up. Dad, stop it. Stop it, Dad. And Daddy, stop it. And I eventually said, no more about this yogurt tube. And just walked away. And she no longer wants to go grocery shopping with me ever.
See, and we did when we were in Disney. And now, if you've ever been to Walt Disney World with a family, there's a lot of different types of families, but there are certain families that are very loud and very I don't know what the word is, but obnoxious might come to mind. So over the years that we've been going, we've started to not so much make fun of, but we have our own personas when we go down, because the big thing down there at Disney World is the Fast Pass.
Yes.
So we
love the Fast Pass.
The Fast Pass.
Yeah.
One time we were there and there was a family, and all they're walking in front of us, but they were so loud. It's like, Tom, have you got the Fast Passes? Tom, ask Tom Jr. if he's got the Fast. Tom Jr. if you got the Tom, you got the Fast. Debbie, I don't have the Fast Passes. So now when we go down, we've created a whole Tom and Debbie Chorton are actual people
Jordan?
Yeah.
Jordan.
Our daughter, Lizzie, and Tom Jr. And my son, who usually is completely embarrassed at any sort of voiceover, anything I do, he gets in on it now. And he'll be like, Dad, no, I don't have the fast passes. Tom, you got the fast passes. No, Debbie, I don't have the fast passes. So in that case, my daughter, on the other hand, she's just like,
wants no part of it.
Who's Lizzie?
Yeah, she wants no part of it.
But kids are the best audience. So if in a weird sort of, here's a little tip for you, and like an offhanded iceberg tip, if you've got kids, while they're still young, use them as much as you can as your sounding board, because kids, if there's one thing that they are, is brutally honest.
Yes.
True.
Yes.
Especially when they're young, and especially if it's if they laugh at what you do.
Yes. That's a good sign.
It's a genuine laugh. If they're like, Dad, seriously, there are other people here?
That's right.
Maybe it's time to just pull back on the Tom, you the fast passes?
Dad's not cool. You know what? And if you don't have kids like me, I don't have any children.
Don't say go to the park and do it.
He can. Dave's barren.
I wasn't gonna say go to the park. I was gonna say go to the mall, but there's more people there. But no, what I was
water up my nose.
Do not ask for a table for one at Chuck E. Cheese.
No, you ask for a table.
So not cool.
No, you ask for a table of 5, but you go sit by yourself. What I was,
my kids over there playing skee ball.
Yeah. No. You say they're at the table with you. What I was going to say is that often, and I don't usually do this by myself, but I will do it. If I'm with my girlfriend or if I'm with friends or whatever, I will do it through a drive-through. Which I'll sometimes do, and it's a lot of fun to do. You go through the drive-through. Hello, welcome to Tim Hortons. Can I help you? And it always sounds like that. I always think that there's like this drive-through etiquette with sound. It's always a certain pitch, a certain rhythm, and a certain way. Hi, can I help you? Can I help you? It's always that sound. And when they say that, I'll be like,
yes, hello, yes. Could I have one cookie, one chocolate milk, and
now. But what happens is that when I get to the window, and they go, okay, that'll be. I go, thank you very much. There's the and the look on their faces sometimes is priceless. It's like. I don't. Did that just? Is there something wrong with my headset, or what's going on here?
And as soon as you drive by, if the camera were to focus back on them, be like, I'm not even supposed to be here today.
That's exactly it. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, that and on that note, the drive-through is now closed. As is this is a
king of the Segway.
Where's my battery-powered one? For AmiVO Dave to my immediate left. AmiVO Garnet straight in front of me.
I'm not doing it because last week you made fun of me.
I am AmiVO.
It did. It sounded like you broke. It sounded like you broke your back.
Clap on. I am AmiVO Mike. Thank you for joining us on this edition of the AmiVO and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour podcast. Till next time.
The 3 AmiVOs and Friends.
3 AmiVOs. Are we going to call 3 AmiVOs and Friends?
I thought it was the 3 AmiVOs.
We've been calling it the AmiVOs and Friends. But
is it the AmiVOs and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour podcast?
Thanks for showing up.
All right.
I'm AmiVO Mike saying, till we next meet and speak, we bid you a fond ole.
We are finished. We are over. It's over.
The AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour Vodcast has been brought to you by the 3 AmiVOs.
Show's over.
It was written, recorded, edited, and produced from deep within the Great White North by Dave McRae, Garnet Williams, and Mike Pongracz.
Are we going bye-bye?
For more AmiVO fun, questions, or comments, check us out online at 3amivos.com.